Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is 9:31 and we are ready to go. All right. Well, welcome to Grow Your Database. I do apologize in advance. It's my favorite topic. So if I start to nerd out, really excited, it's because I love this topic. So, Monday morning. How you guys feeling? Good? Good. Get a little energy? Yep. Ready to learn? That's what I like to hear. Okay, so today we are learning more about your database and how it affects your real estate business. In the last session, you learned about lead generation. All the leads you gather must go somewhere to be stored and organized, and that somewhere is your database. Once your leads and contacts are captured in that container, your database, you can then leverage your database to cultivate relationships and generate new, repeat, and referral business. So before we dive into this, give me some of your ahas. How's the foundation series Ignite been so far? What are some of the things that you have learned, implemented? Yeah, that's good. Good. So what they're doing, how they're implementing it. And it's nice to hear it from an actual agent in production and some of the proven models and systems that, yep, that's good. What else?
Getting the mindset set on how to strategize well, build. Also talk about value proposition. That was a big class with Brandon. See, probably the thing that I've used the most since Big Night, the Ford method.
Mm-hmm.
Just act dream, like dream goals.
Yeah.
Which is very good.
Yeah. Well, if you're thinking about it, the goal of real estate really is deepening the relationships with your sphere. Your sphere is the most important, and we're going to talk a lot about that in the database today, is your sphere and how we can communicate with it. But it's deepening that relationship. Agents miss it too much where they're very transactional in their conversations, where it's just, do you want to buy or sell with me? Let's set an appointment. Okay, I will see you in a week. And then there's nothing in between. There's no relationship building. There's no in those conversations when you're talking with your clients or potential clients, you really don't do much talking at all, do you? It's just listening and really understanding the Ford. I love that. I love that, Chase. Okay, so let's jump in. We're going to kind of cover, well, first of all, TCPA compliant disclaimer. All these, all the trainings are the opinion of KWRI. And we want to make sure that we are following all of the TCPA compliant. When you're calling your database, fair housing, make sure AI is not an end all. AI does not take in consideration fair housing, so please be wary. Did you guys see the agent discussion? Are you guys in the agent discussion page?
I heard about it.
There was a post, or there is an MLS listing that someone popped off on that agent discussion page in Facebook, and it says if you're going to use ChatGPT to write your MLS description, at least take out the part where it says, "Sure thing, Brad. Here's a shorthanded MLS version that keeps it compliant and appealing." So in the MLS listing, in the details, it has it's for Brad.
That's lazy.
But he didn't even check it. He just had the ChatGPT write it. That is, I mean, I understand me using a system, but you can't use a system. You can't systematize a relationship, and that's one of an example of being too systematized. Copyright, obviously, these materials, copyright 2024. All right, lead generation, grow your database. Let's go over the agenda for today. Okay, so we're going to start talking about your smart data bank. All right, and so by the end of the session today, you will be able to identify the key information you'll need for each contact in your database. So we're going to talk about a smart data bank. We're going to build your database. We're going to feed your database. We're going to communicate with your database, service your database, and then we're going to talk about AHAs. We're going to determine categories, segments for your contacts in your database. So if you've done an orientation with me, we have talked about segmenting our database, utilizing tags, being able to communicate systematically. We're going to build your database or build your business by asking your sphere of influence for referrals. To start thinking about what you'll learn today, let's consider what questions you might have and what about a database you'd like to know more about. You can also look back or think back to what you learned about lead generation Friday, since you started to learn the basics of database. So we're going to skip that part. We're not going to pair off and talk about questions we might have. We're just going to dig right into it. Okay, so your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and a relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. So have you ever thought that your database is your business? Right? Have you ever thought about your database? That's your business? That's it. That's everything, right? It's true. With no database, you have no business. And the number of names in your database and the relationships you build with the people will determine the success of your business. You'll learn today that how you feed and care for your database will turn it into a data bank from which you'll be able to predict and draw business. This is exciting stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. So in the previous session, lead generation, you got the first taste of what a database is and talked about a few ways to add people to your database as you move through your day. Today, we'll be going deep into how to bring you new, repeat, and referral business from your database. So let's talk about the big picture of what a database is and why you should have one for your business. Your database is a container that holds all the names and all the information, phone numbers, emails, all in one place where you can find everything. We distinguish people differently based on permissions we have to connect with them. Okay, so this is really important. So when you have a lead, these are people that might have expressed interest on like social media. They clicked on a home. Yeah, that's a lead, right? They put their information in, it gets thrown into your database. All right. Other marketing platforms. So they've reached out to you, they've seen something, there's some sort of indicator, and they've got their information is then thrown into your database and you're following up with that lead. You haven't necessarily established a relationship there with them. So they want something from you, or they want information from you, and you want to give it to them, but you haven't really deepened that relationship with them. That's a lead. And our goal is then on the next point, so we have a lead, is the next part of your database are your contacts. Your contacts are different from your leads. Your contacts are people that you have permission to have a two-way conversation with. A lot of times when you're looking at your phone and you have all those names in there, those are your contacts. Those are people that you could just pick up the phone and call, right? You already have an established relationship with them. You can engage in communication. This is your sphere of influence. Your contacts are your sphere of influence. These are the people that we have to nurture the most at a high level. Many top agents have very successful businesses working with their sphere of influence, and you can too. This is why we focus on sphere in our success system time. Your first task will be to fill your database with your sphere of influence. So we did that in orientation. That's why when we jump in orientation and we start getting all of our systems together and we just kind of touch on little pieces, then we focus the rest of the orientation on our database because that's the most important thing. If you don't talk to the people who are already in your phone, you might as well kiss your real estate business goodbye. It's not that scary. Come on, we can all do it. All right. So you want to turn the page so you guys get to, I know that the pages might be slightly off from the slides. So if you get mixed up, just let me know. But we should be, this is database to find. Let me hide this. There we go. It's a little bit better. All right, so turn your, okay, so turn your page to lead generation database model. And let's review this. So we've got lead generation model and database model. So at the top here, the lead generation. We're going to capture leads. So we either use social media, we ask for a referral, we send out postcards, somebody has called us, we walked around the mall and talked to 100 people, taken bold, cold call FISBOs, we do whatever that lead generation is, which can be a wide range of things. That's at the very top. Through prospecting and marketing. So we pull all the leads and they go into, just think of like a funnel, okay? Leads, we're going to funnel, we're going to build that relationship, and they're going to turn them into contacts. And then from the contacts, we'll convert those into leads or convert that into business. And then it's just repeat, okay? So what does this mean to you? When you look at this, what does this represent to you? Does this make sense? Okay. So we start from a lead, nurture them, turn them into a contact. Your database is key to your business and does a lot for you. A database keeps you organized so that you can run your business effectively and efficiently. A database keeps a comprehensive record of communication in the relationship through systematized communication. A database helps automate other tasks, and a well-maintained database holds value and can be sold if you choose to retire or close the business. So just think of our leads in our little funnel here, and that's our database. We're managing our relationships, okay? An organized and smart database sure beats a notepad of names, sticky notes, and or any other non-automated system. I'm going to tell you this, Post-its are my vice. I love them. I've got them all over my desk, and I can tell you that half the time I'll pick up a Post-it note and I'm like, oh, I did that, throw it away. Oh, I did that, throw it away. Like it's just not very organized. I'm not a real estate agent, however, utilizing note or Post-it notes when you're out and about running around and or a notepad and it gets lost, there's a lot of room for error, right? Also, your system isn't going to necessarily spit out reports and tell you you need to follow up with this person. And there's so many different things that utilizing your database in a system at a high level will keep you organized. Okay. So that's what Command is. Command is a database of names and contacts, like the contacts in your phone, with a lot more information. You can set your goals in Command. There's a task manager to track all of the tasks that you've set for yourself so that you can keep up with people. Marketing, referral networks. Command is also ever evolving. If you guys are Mega Camp this week, they're announcing Canva and that integration into Command, which is going to be amazing. All right, so 4 laws of database. So make sure you're on this page. So now we know why we're going to use a database. Database is your business. So let's talk about how we're going to make this happen. The 4 laws of database and Business Thrive are. So we're going to build a database. We're going to feed it every day. We're going to communicate in a systematic way. And we're going to service all the leads that come your way. All right. Anyone have any ahas before we kind of really jump into this? Any ahas? Just database? Difference between a lead and a contact? All right, so let's talk about building our database. So the first law is to build your database. So you've already started doing this through Ignite, making your calls, you're getting your phone numbers, you're getting your emails, getting home addresses, anniversaries, birthdays. How many phone calls a day have you been making through the Ignite Foundation series? How many phone calls are we making?
Like 10 to 20.
10 to 20 a day?
Yeah.
Is it, have you, what are some of the challenges that you have experienced when trying to get some of the information to fill our database?
There are some people where I'll ask, for additional information. It's always at the end of the call. Like, we'll catch up. Because I've just been reaching out to my contacts. I don't have any firms yet. Starts coming in this weekend. That'll start to happen more.
Mhm.
And then when I was on the meeting this morning for me, and it suggested that I always trade information, like get a business card back, which I wasn't thinking of right away. Makes the most sense to do that. But there are some people that I've reached out to, and I'll say, oh, hey, you mind sending me your email, like your home address, and then your birthday. It's not going anywhere, it's on my database, so I usually throw it. And they'll say, oh, I'm not looking right now, I'd rather not. Something like that. The most awkward interaction I reached out to a buddy from school a long time ago, and he's closer friends with my cousin. So I reached out. It's like, yeah, thanks for that.
So what are some of the like how do you handle those weird interactions? Like what's just
I'm usually straight up, and I'm just like, oh, quite honestly, dude, I'm just getting started in real estate. Since I have an established connection, I feel okay saying I'm just getting started or I did my feet wet in the game. And my homework right now has just been reaching out to my contacts to fill out my database and get more information.
so what if we spun that a little bit? What if you frame it around how you can deliver value to them? So, oh, I'm not looking right now. Okay. Well, I understand you're not looking right now. Let's change that up. Oh, okay. Well, that's great. I just want to let you know, I've got a couple of events going on this year that I'm just trying to invite a lot of people to. So maybe if you're doing a client event, or I'm hosting a fall back to school fundraiser, or you just have to think about maybe not necessarily, well, I just have to do this because I've been told to do this, that you're inviting them something. You have to be able to deliver them value. So think about I know with Missy and the Oxford group, like they do yoga classes or they do other things. Like just I want to be able to invite you to a lot of really fun events that we're hosting. It's nothing to do with real estate necessarily. I just have a lot of really cool things that are happening. Or I've partnered up with a few other businesses that have nothing to do with real estate, and I'm just trying to help these other small businesses build theirs. So I've sent out a monthly newsletter that I'd like to keep you up with. So you have to, and I'm not doing very good with the content necessarily. What were you gonna say, Travis? Exactly. Yeah. So what we do is twice a year, we do a giveaway. And it's a day where the Market Center facilitates it, where maybe it's $1,000 cash giveaway. And so to participate in this, it's called a reverse fold. And the idea is that you promote it as from your business that you're going to give away $1,000. On this day, between 4 and 7, you have to call me to get entered into this giveaway. And so the idea, it happens here, and we will probably do one in September. And the idea is everyone's in here or in the Market Center getting these calls. The Market Center has a Google form. And so everyone calls you entered in their information in that Google form, and some of the questions are, okay, what's your birthday? And what's your home address? I just want to make sure I have the right email for you. It goes into a Google Drive form. After the event, we cut and paste everyone's responses and send it to them so you can use that to update their database. The other part of it is that after everyone puts in their entries, we do a wheel and it's all random and they spin and pick a winner. And then that winner wins $1,000. So you can let them know, and I'll get with my team. Thank you, Travis, for reminding me about that. I'll get with my team on the giveaway so we can start promoting that. That's an angle that you can use, like, oh, we're going to be doing a giveaway this fall. Still working on the prize, huh? Yeah, I don't want my friends to miss out on all these great things. So you have to think about changing that verbiage to a way that they would be stupid not to give you that information because they're going to miss out on something. I mean, you create FOMO, like, oh, okay, that's great. I just want to keep you up to date with this $1,000 giveaway this fall. Oh, wait, what? Yeah. Or we've done Bengals tickets and things like that. Yep, we do Thanksgiving pies. Thank you for reminding me about that. So every Thanksgiving, we reach out to our database and we bring them pie. The market center facilitates bringing all the pies. We'll have like $400 or 500 pies from Costco, and you let us know how many pies you want, and then you can hand deliver them to your clients. You can put a sticker on the top of the pie, give them a chance to, wish them happy Thanksgiving. I mean, it's a lot of work delivering the pies. To be honest, what we try to do is get the clients to come here and pick them up. And then we'll set up, some hot chocolate bar and make it more of an event where they're coming here. What I'd like to do this year is also tie in with the food pantry and doing donations. So you bring in a can of a non-perishable item, food pantry item, then you get a pie. So there's some things that go with it. Thank you for reminding me about that. Heck yeah, you are. It's such an easy touch, and the pies are, $6. Now, if you want to do that's pumpkin pie. Now, if you want to do apple pie, it's like 12. If you want to do pecan, it's 15. The pumpkin's good enough. Everyone likes pumpkin. Does that help you?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. All right. Okay, so build your database. We kind of talked about this. At minimum, your contact should have their name, contact information for your friends and family. And of that contact information, we talked about this in orientation, but we've got emails, phone numbers. What else? Yell it out. Home address, home anniversary, birthday. What's something else? Their job. Yeah, when you're thinking about Ford, what's that? Oh, it's occupation, right? Where are they working on? That dictates a lot of home buying, right? Especially if you have someone that's a renter and they just got a new job. Maybe they've been there 6 months. It's going great. It's great. Stability in the job. Lenders love that. Okay, let's try converting renters into buyers. Something else to think about is their family names, family member names, dynamics of their family. So when you're in command and where the area where you put the birthday and the home anniversary, there's a little description box up there. Utilize that. Put kids' names in there, kids' birthdays. You got to build that relationship. And the only way to really build that relationship with that person is if you know the family dynamic. If you know that there's a kid in there that's 17 or maybe 15, that person, oh my goodness, kid's going to be 16 next year. When's he getting his temps? That's so being aware of that relationship, you have to utilize as much as possible. And just know it doesn't have to be over one conversation. You're going to converse with your clients over and over again. You're going to converse with your sphere of influence at a high level. You don't have to get all that information the first time you call them. Build into it. Make sure you deliver value. They're going to be more willing to give you that information if you're delivering value. All right. So we all know how to enter in contacts in a command. Health score is important. I would say if you're at 88%, that means that you have their home address, phone number, email, and birthday. Yeah, you can't get a neighborhood nurturing, right? Exactly. You have to have a neighborhood in. Now you can manually add a neighborhood. So if they don't feel comfortable telling you where their home address is, maybe in your conversation with them, hypothetically speaking, where's your dream neighborhood? Okay, I know that your kids are ages 1, 2, and 3. Are you living in the neighborhood that you want to send them to school? No. Okay, what's a neighborhood that you would like to live in? And then you could manually add those neighborhoods in. You can start sending them information about those neighborhoods. If they don't necessarily want to be transparent and give you their home address. But also you can just go on the Hamilton County Auditor site and find most people's home addresses. Yeah. Oh yeah, social media. Yeah. You can add social media handles in there, but you're right. Going on Facebook, you can find their birthdays. It used to have it underneath, like their actual birthday. So there is an integration in command that can spit out a most likely going to buy or sell based on the more information that you feed to it. I think they're still in the midst of, maybe Peyton can share a little bit more information on that. But there's a way, the more information you feed to it, it's going to be able to spit like this person is most likely going to buy or sell. There's also, if you have social media handles in there that they can do when you do campaigns, you can target your database through campaigns in Facebook. Instead of just a broad amount, you can target your actual database so that it will show up in their thread. I mean, you guys have gone on Google before and looked for a shoe, and then all of a sudden you're seeing the ads in Facebook or Instagram. Same kind of technology. I forget, it's redirect marketing or something. Yep. Okay. All right. Any more any ahas? Guys are Monday. Come on, it's database. Let's go. It's good stuff. All right. So now we're going to talk about feeding our database. This is the second law. So what are the two pathways of feeding our database?
Prospect.
Yes. Right there. Good job, Chase. Prospecting and marketing. That's how you feed your database. So what does feed your database mean? This law is about adding people to your database. First, you add all the people you know, your sphere of influence, and the people you encounter regularly. You add your dentist, teachers, coworkers, neighbors, people you know from the neighborhood, maybe politicians in your neighborhood, school board. I mean, just anyone that you have interacted with. So you've got your sphere of influence, and then you have like your acquaintances, right? The rest of your feed comes from what? And that is lead generating. In a previous session, you learned the difference between prospecting and marketing. You also explored different ways to prospect in your everyday and through your sphere, everyday life and through your sphere. So prospecting is actively seeking leads and building relationships through your conversations. Prospecting is cost effective, and you're able to directly hear if and when the person is able, ready, and willing to do business. Marketing is a passive pathway for feeding your database. You're putting information out there in hopes that people seek you out, right? Prospecting, marketing. Let's talk about prospecting, marketing real quick. What sounds like the highest return, prospecting or marketing? Prospecting, right? I will tell you this. I see it happen a lot. Get eager, you jump in the real estate game, or you've been kind of hitting the wall, you've already been licensed, and you're just ready to throw money. Okay. Do not throw a lot of money at marketing if you're not doing prospecting at a high level. Okay. Prospecting is cost effective. You're not spending a lot of money by picking up your phone and making those calls. Okay. Too often I see people throw, oh, I'm going to send Zillow 3,500 and they're going to send me all these great leads. Ugh, doesn't happen. Okay. Prospecting should be a priority. All right. The value of your sphere. Building your database can be accomplished economically by asking everyone you know who they know and who might benefit from your services or may have an immediate real estate need. You learned earlier that many top agents run highly productive businesses based solely on their sphere. You see, your sphere is your source for new, repeat, and referral business. Remember, this was the client and referral loop of the database model. So new business comes when someone in your sphere begins thinking about buying or selling and they think of you. So let me say that again. New business comes when someone in your sphere begins thinking about buying or selling and they think of you. What's the worst thing that could happen? You think of somebody else. Okay. You have to be realtor, the top agent of choice. Okay. Repeat business comes from clients you've helped in the past who were so pleased with your service and experience you provided that they asked you for it again. And then referral business comes from clients who have used you before and know of your stellar service and recommend you to people in their sphere. Okay, so you have new and repeat from your sphere, from your contacts, and then you have referrals. All right, so who might your sphere refer to you? So when you're calling your sphere of influence, and you're having a conversation with someone at a high level, and at the end of that conversation, you ask, well, first you thank them for having a conversation with you, and then you ask them, who do you might know that might be interested in buying or selling? Yeah, children, grandchildren, who else might they refer to? Huh? Yeah, relatives? Exactly. Yeah, I like that. It's good. Friends, coworkers, neighbors, children, relative. So how do we ensure that our sphere of influence is going to refer you business? How are we going to do that? Deliver value. Absolutely. How else? Stay top of mind. Yep. Communicate. What were you saying? Send them a pie. Okay. So how do we ensure? Well, first of all, we have to ask. Okay. That's going to be the easiest way to ensure that they're going to send you a referral is that we're going to ask for that referral. We're also no, you can't pay for referrals. You can thank them for referrals. Okay. So you can't say, I'm going to give you $1,000 for the first 10, for the first 10 people that give me a referral, I'll give you a $25 gift card. You cannot do that. You cannot monetize it. You have to make it equal opportunity for everyone. And they don't have to give you something. So that's why we can do the giveaway because everyone enters in the same way. So it's equal opportunity. And when you do the cash giveaway in that form, you do ask them, who do you know that might be interested in buying or selling? So that's a way to receive a referral. And then everyone who called in, no matter if they gave a referral or not, has an equal opportunity to win that prize. That's where you can do a $1,000 giveaway. You cannot online say, whoever gives me a referral, I'm going to give them a $25 gift card. That's illegal. Ohio Division will be all up in your business. However, when you ask for a referral and someone thinks and they give you a referral, you meet with that person, you can give that person something nice, plant, gift card to, thank them for it, but you cannot promote them to give you a referral by monetizing it by any means or rewarding them. Does that make sense? It's a little bit different.
I know they referral, but people, but like, and people,
So, but they don't advertise it. So, right. You can thank them. You can't hand them money. Cannot never give anyone money. The gift cards, yeah.
So if I'm on the phone with somebody and I'm like, hey, any chance you know anybody that might be looking to buy or sell soon? They're like, no. Can I say, well, if you give me a name in a week, I'll give you a.
No, nope.
Or-
Nope,
okay.
you cannot do that. That is, that's basically paying, like, that's bribing, not bribing, but it's paying someone to give you something.
But if they said yes, I do have somebody, they can actually.
So you can, yes, but you can't say, well, yeah, okay, thank you for that. I'm gonna send you a $25 gift card right then and there in that conversation. No, the loophole is that after you meet with that referral, then
It's
you
a
can
thing,
do
yeah.
something nice for them, okay? But you cannot use any type of influence of monetary value or any kind of asset value to encourage someone to give you a lead. It has to be organic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There, it is, yeah, I see a lot of people who try to incentivize, and that is a big no-no. Huh? Yeah. It is a thin line. And we talk about it later in this topic about thanking our referrals. So how we ensure is by asking for a referral, by explaining to your sphere how to give you a referral, by sharing it, how important it is to you, and then thanking them with words and even a gift for the referral. So it does say in here, like, thank them for the gift for the referral, but you cannot can't put the gift before the referral, if that makes sense. Your sphere generally wants to help you, and you can easily feed your database with referrals from them. Okay. So you're not going to get a referral unless you ask. You're not going to get a referral unless you teach your database, your sphere, and how to support you in your business. We're all small business owners, right? How much do we love to support a small restaurant? Like, we see a small restaurant, we go in there, we have a great experience. You're going to tell how many people about it. Okay. Same mentality. Again, you are a small business owner. You want to help, you want to show your sphere how they can support you in your business. Everyone that's in your database, everyone that's in your phone, they're rooting for you. There's nothing wrong with asking for referrals or asking for a way for them to support you in your business, because again, you are a small business owner. All right, testimonials and reviews. There are other ways that you can feed your database. Encourage the people you know to write a testimonial about you or a review of the service you provided them in the past. When you post these on social media through your agent site or any form of marketing, you attract leads. Offer an item of value related to real estate on social media, and people opt in to receive information from you. This could be a real estate update on the market in the area, which conveniently is already created for you in Command. So raise your hand if you have a friend, family member, business contact that would write a testimonial for you right now. Should be everybody. Raise your hand.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. Okay, so let's bring that up. So you haven't done a transaction yet, but how could someone write a review for you? What are some of the attributes that you have that anyone that's looking for real estate would want to have? You're consistent, you're on time, right? What are some other attributes of a good real estate agent? That doesn't necessarily have to be tied into an actual transaction. Professionalism, trustworthiness. So you may not have sold any real estate, but your friends and family can still go onto your Google business page and give you reviews based on attributes that a people want to see in a real estate agent, because it's true. It's not falsifying that information, but they can say that Chase is very professional. Brandon's timely, personable. I mean, yeah. So just think about it that way. You don't have to sell a lick of real estate, but you could also build up your reviews before that. Also, other businesses. When you ask a business contact for a review, will you reciprocate? Okay, maybe you have friends and family or people in your sphere who also are small business owners. Leave them a review as well and ask one for in return. Focus on your sphere first, since they are your cheerleaders. Even though you may not have closed a transaction or may be working towards your first few, you can still leverage testimonials and reviews as you build and establish those relationships. And then this page kind of goes on to the responsiveness, attention to detail, professionalism, empathy, clear communication. All right. Ahas. Give me some ahas. What do you got, Mary? So, great. So make sure you got a good Google page. If you don't have a Google page and you have problems setting Google business page, and you have problems setting it up, connect with Peyton. She can help you with that. Everyone should have a Google business page. You can hyperlink and send it to your friends and family. Hey, I'm working on building my real estate business. I would love if you left me a review. Send it out to them. Have them go in and give you reviews. The more you interact in that Google interface, the algorithm is going to put you, you know what you're supposed to do every day? You're supposed to Google yourself 5 times a day. Do you know that? If you have a Google business page, Google yourself 5 times a day. Put it on your calendar. It will increase your algorithm when you show up. Yeah. Tell your siblings, parents, kids, friends, Google you 5 times a day. That little trick right there is going to help your algorithm on your business page. Add reviews on there, it's going to help. Huh? Review other businesses, absolutely. Positive reviews. Positive reviews. You don't want to be in that negative Nancy. Because when you review other businesses, leave them really genuine, wholesome feedback. When someone sees that review, they can click on you and then they can see all the reviews you made. You don't want to be in there like, oh no. You can record that, right? You can contest Google reviews that that person really hasn't actually interacted. They just didn't like the fact they called. Peyton can show you how to. Yeah. Keep positive.
I like the idea of thinking of myself as a small business owner.
Yeah. Because you are, right? This is your source of income. This is your livelihood. Here's the thing, you have to be top of mind, and Travis said that earlier. You have to be top of mind for everyone. Because the reality is, I've heard just story after story from agents that we have in our office who have had someone in their sphere of influence buy or sell without them. I had one agent who's like almost best friend. I wouldn't say it was her best friend, but it was someone very close in their sphere. Might have even been a relative. This is quite a few years ago. Who this agent at that time was going through a divorce. This was her only source of income. It was a nasty divorce. And so her friend, or maybe even I think it was a cousin, bought and sold to somebody else in Indian Hill. Okay. Bought and sold to somebody else. This agent was devastated. She was in here crying. Okay. And you know what her friend, the excuse was, well, I wouldn't want to bother you. I know things are kind of tough for you. Well, I can tell you this right now. I've been through a divorce. The best thing that would have supported me during a divorce was income. Okay. So you have to communicate out to your database. Like, this is your livelihood. This is your source of income. Because I guarantee you are also supporting other people in your sphere and your database in their ventures and their small businesses. Okay. What else you got?
Going off that, I think it's super important to not be attached to stuff when that happens, because it happens
It does.
all the time.
Well, I can tell you this, it will not happen again in that agent's business. That happened once, and I've heard it happen to other agents, but you only let that happen to you once to realize you have to communicate better to your sphere of influence and let them know, like, you know, I'm going through hard times. The best way that you can support me right now is to buy or sell with me. How can you support my business? Because, you know, and it doesn't have to be like, you need to pay me my lawyer bill when you're divorced. It's, hey, you know, I know I'm going through a tough time, but what I'm finding is helping me get through this is sticking to real estate. I've got some great things going on in my business. Can I share that opportunity? But the realization is that that agent just kind of separated herself from everyone while going through this hard time and just assumed people would, you know, continue to buy or sell, but she wasn't communicating with them during that time. Google yourself 5 times a day. Huh? What do you mean?
Well, it's more about when you do that, then the internet will just keep bringing you up, because it's like, oh, Mary's starting to get searched more and more. Maybe I should put her name up when
It's all
somebody
about
searches for real
analytics.
estate.
Yep. So do some. So Google Analytics, you can look at your analytics for business page. And what happens is it tracks site visits, it tracks when people click on your phone number, when people Google your business, it'll track every single time. You can look at different months and metrics going up and down. And so if you're in your Google business page, the more that you are Googling yourself, those analytics kick up. And then in the Google algorithm, like you said, if you Googled real estate agent Cincinnati, you're going to be more likely to show up when someone's never been Googled before. Okay. Do it from multiple devices too. So your cell phone, computer, multiple times a day. It takes no time at all. Okay. All right, now third law, to communicate with your database. In the previous session, you learned about the importance of relationships in real estate, along with the different ways you can communicate with your database, called touches. Communicating with your database will be accomplished through those touches, and you will pair those meaningful, relevant, and timely information. To succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with the database with the intent of building close relationships. The quote says you must commit to frequent contact. How long must you commit to building a relationship? So when you think about frequent contact, what is that for you? How long does that take? Forever and ever and ever. Ever, ever? Ever, ever. I know Travis would get that. Yeah, oh, yeah, of course. Come on. Yes, forever while you're in business, you need to communicate with everyone in your sphere of influence. Because I didn't say just to convert it to a lead. That wasn't what this quote says. How long do you have to stay in relationship with people in your database? Forever, while you're in real estate. And then you communicate with them at such a high level and you build this amazing real estate business and you're ready to retire and you just hand it off with a bow on it. So now it's your time to communicate with it. I'm retiring. It's called the golden handoff. The way you communicate with your database will depend on whether it's with leads or contacts. And remember that in Ignite, we are focusing our attention on relationship building and strengthening with our contacts, our sphere, those for whom we have permission to have a two-way conversation with. As you establish and build relationships and learn more about a person's motivations, dreams, interests, and goals, you will categorize or segment people into common interests so that everyone is receiving communication that matters to them. Information that is meaningful and feels personal is information that they're more likely to respond to. All right, so communicate systematically. We're going to segment your database based on interests, passions. What are some segments or categories you might already naturally have in your database? What are some of the segments you guys have in your database? Tags. What are the tags?
Mine would be like high school, Savior Friends.
Yep. Yep. Homeowner, renter. Right. What are some other tags? Yeah. Explain that for them. Met and not met. Mm-hmm. So you might categorize your leads that way, right? So when you have a lead that comes in, making sure you've actually met them in person. Okay. Okay. Let's talk more about the segments in our database. We did this in orientation. All right. So let's come up with some more. Give me some more segments. We talked about, we've got school, you've got your Xavier, we've got our renters, we've got our home buyers, we've got our out of town, we've got our Mets, our not Mets, active buyers. Okay. Let's think about more on the relationship side. Okay. Oh, like, so, yeah, so in their industry, certain industry, music friends, hospitality. Yeah. Okay. So let's think about that. If we're, okay, so you've got everyone in your database that's tagged, that's a musician, correct? Of some sort. What if there was a really unique concert happening in a community? Or something that, or maybe one of the larger festivals, or there's a concert at one of the local music venues. What if you created a newsletter and it had information in there just really about all of the really cool concerts that are happening this summer, free and paid? And you hit every single person in your database with that specific newsletter. That's valuable, right? And timely. Okay. What if I sent that to everyone? Now, music's kind of hard. It's not everyone. No one hates music. But say you had people who absolutely hate music and you sent that to them. They're not going to see that as valuable. Right? You're delivering value to that segment in your database. And so that's the idea of creating tags and segmenting your database. Since people are more likely to respond when the information you send and communicate directly impacts them, it's important to be purposeful segment. It's important to purposefully segment your database so that the target message appeals to them. So this is not set in stone. It is flexible and will change as your database and relationships will grow. And people may belong in multiple segments. So you can give multiple tags to people. They can follow different segments. Obviously, we have clients, past clients, VIPs. Why is it important to identify past clients? Huh? Right. Okay. Let's talk more about past client though. So you're going to communicate to them differently as far as the value with real estate. However, how can we utilize a past client? Yep. So anyone you've sold a home to, you have to have their home anniversary in there. They would love that touch. They're the ones that also should be what? Giving you a Google review to attest for your Professionalism.
Yeah, Tigers, runners, or
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. You could give them an annual home evaluation. I remember when I bought my house 15 years ago, my agent at that time, she would send me stuff, about you've lived in your house for X amount of years. This is what your estimated home value is now. Here's your ROI, your return on investment. Everyone wants to know their return on investment. They want to know that they just made the biggest purchase of their life and it's actually grown in value, right? So that's an annual touch that can happen. They're the ones that also are going to send you the most amount of referrals because they can attest to your professionalism. They've done a transaction for you. You want to be their realtor of choice for life. All right, this is touching on newsletters, so you can identify personalized newsletters to those segments. The messaging in the segments should be relevant to likes, dislikes, interests, or based on past interactions with you. Even though the words and topics of your messaging will change, there are some things that will remain consistent no matter what segment you are communicating with. Your messaging matches the motivation of the segment, uncovers if they're able, ready, and willing, and the time frame they are looking to do business in includes a call to action, elicits an immediate response, indirect or direct, tells the person receiving the message how to contact you, and helps the clients know why they would choose to contact you in the current market and what they get if they do. So when you're communicating with your segments, this is an example of someone who's golf, investor, and dog lovers. So the customized message examples: review of golf courses per neighborhood in the area relevant to the geographic location of the people in the segment. So you have people who are very much interested in golf, right? Maybe there's a neighborhood, there's one over in Blue Ash that's on a golf course. Okay, maybe you look at all the homes that are currently for sale in there. Maybe that person has passion enough for golf, they want to live on a golf course. Give them all that information for that neighborhood. Call to action, actionable items. Get in touch with me. Call me now to get more information. Those are some of the terms that you want to use. Your messaging needs a method, a way to be communicated. When communicating with your database, this will come from your targeted marketing, also known as touch campaigns, and we'll dig into that later on in this. All right. So communicate with value. So this is your leads and your contacts. And you'll dig deeper into this in a future class. All right. So when you communicate, regardless of the message, segment, or touch, you always pair that communication with value. So here on this graph, they're saying leads, you have 19 to connect. 19 to connect. So that's 4 touches, quarterly phone call, 12 touches, so a monthly email, monthly newsletter, market report video. 2 touches of promotional direct mail, such as a magnet, calendar, printed market report, and then a touch as far as an annual event. Okay, so 19 touches, examples. One of those touches at a high value is going to cement that lead and convert them into now a contact. So your leads you generate either through Facebook, your campaigns that you set up with Peyton, those leads, they're not a contact yet, they're just a lead. And this is saying you have 19 to connect with them. Once they are converted into a contact, So from a lead to now you've cemented that relationship, you can have a two-way conversation with them. They are now in your contacts. You have to communicate more to your contacts than you do your leads. This is saying 36 to convert into a transaction. So that's 4 touches. So still doing quarterly phone calls. We're amping up our communication via newsletters, biweekly neighborhood nurtures. All information's of value to that consumer. Doing events, 2 events a year, get-togethers, parties. And then you're doing more promotional direct mail, such as magnets, calendars, so you're sending them information. And also with the direct mail, like some of these touches, that's birthday cards, handwritten notes, okay? So items of value might seem like market statistics, seasonal prep checklist for homeowners, real estate forecasting data, schedule of local events and festivals. All right, so let's brainstorm around this. What are some examples around local events? So I'll give an example. So in Deer Park, every year in August, they do Days in Deer Park Festival. Every single Deer Park person walks this festival. It's insane. I hear music the entire weekend from my house. They do fireworks one night. My dogs get scared. They hide in the basement. But my kids love going up there because they get to see all their friends. All right. That is a huge social event every single year in our little community. So if I was farming my neighborhood of Deer Park as a licensed real estate agent, or even surrounding neighborhoods, I would want to let them know. What's really cool in that festival is they have all of the local small businesses in there. They don't do too many big corporate, huh? Oh, yes. Mhm. Well, that's a good point, where you're showcasing a local event. Maybe you're showcasing some of those small business owners in that local event. And then what you have to do is you have to show up and you go to that local event. You don't just advertise it to your database. You actually need to attend to that local event. I can tell you right now, I did not want to run into one realtor when I was at that event. You're in a social setting, it's an opportunity to have conversations with people, connect with them on a deeper level. Wear your Keller Williams real estate t-shirt. Walk around. Wear your name tag upside down. So oh my gosh, your name tag's upside down. Oh gosh, so silly. Creates conversation. Walk around with a balloon tied to the back of your shirt. Keller Williams balloon. I'm just kidding, but so join your local chamber of commerce. That's an opportunity, right? Have a say, be more, again, top of mind for people, be recognized, brand recognition. Have a preferred vendor list. This is something Brian Jackson does at a high level. His sphere of influence, when anyone in his sphere is like, man, I need a roofer, they call Brian. They need a floor guy, they call Brian, because he knows and has this database of vendors that he works with at a high level that he trusts, that he can send referrals to. Okay, you may want to have at least 2, maybe 3 of each of those big categories, all right? But creating a vendor list. What is a positive thing in creating a vendor list? You can connect with other people in real estate, right? Yes. What do you think? Well, absolutely.
It shows that you provide a lot of value by knowing vendors outside of the business.
Yeah, you're a realtor of choice because you know a roofer, you know a landscaper. You become the person that everyone needs to call when they need something. So you are there at top of mind, right? And the other thing is you're supporting all these other small businesses. They're going to reciprocate, right? You have a painter, a really good painter that's going in, or a roofer. Okay, they're going to know that homeowner might be getting their house ready. Sometimes that takes months to happen. They may not have a realtor yet, right? Send me those leads, send me those referrals. You can ask your vendors for referrals. You're sending them, actively sending them referrals. They will reciprocate. Okay. So all of these things that we're doing in Command, okay, we're feeding our database in Command. We're getting more information in there. Do you see how your database becomes a data bank? Continually communicate matters of importance to the recipients. So if you just have a list of contacts, that's not doing you anything, okay? So this is showing we're going to create our contacts all on our phone, and we're going to create, which is a smart database, into a data bank. What naturally happens is you build relationship and continually show value. So what happens? You're creating, if you're using the database, put your information in, systematically communicate value every single time to your database. What's going to happen?
Get repeats, referrals, new referrals from your bank.
Yeah, you're getting into high level conversations. What happens when you build your database, you consistently feed it, and then neglect the communicating part? Say it, Mary. Say it so everyone can hear it. Somebody else gets the business. You do all this work, you segment, you're delivering value, but then you don't pick up the phone and have a conversation. You don't implement forward. You've essentially wasted your time lead generating and putting your contacts in your database because there's no guarantee that people will think of you when they have a real estate lead. So in other words, your database will not be a data bank. And by the way, the most important communication you can make is the personal phone call. Each person in your database gets 4 calls a year, once a quarter. One of them can be happy birthday. That's one. Okay. What are some of your ahas on that? You what? And there's your system. So have you guys heard of the DT2, DT2? Okay. You know what that is?
So,
2 letters. So it's essentially you divide up your database based on, and like this week, I'm going to call all the H's because there's what, 26 letters in the alphabet. So if you do 2 letters a week, that's 8 or 8. So 2, so 12. There's 12 weeks in 3 months. So if you, over a 3-month period, every single week, you do 2 letters in your database, you will get through your entire database in 3 months and once a quarter. So then every single person in your database will get 1 touch a month. So you can say, all right, this week I'm going to call the A's and the H's. Next week I'm going to call the B's and the J's, the C's and the F's. Anyways, so you just kind of break it down. Don't knock over your coffee. All right, so then every single week you're going to call everyone. By the end of 3 months, which is 1 quarter, you will have called every single person in your database. And you can tag them. You can tag all the A's and filter all the A's and go through and communicate. All right. So
I
now,
had a talk last week with a buddy of mine from high school who's a realtor, a guy, and he said the importance I was kind of saying that I felt like I wasn't being super productive by reaching out to a bunch of my buddies who are out of state, because that's where like most of my school friends are. But then he says that he gets a ton of referral business. So, you know, like a buddy of him will reach out from Chicago and say, hey, I'm looking for a house. He's going to go to Chicago. And Eric will say, yeah, give me a second. I'll send you a contact. And it's, you know, a little bit of.
Oh my gosh, yes, you do. Yeah, any of your out of state, keep them in your database, label them out of state. You'll start to identify if you have a lot of contacts in certain cities, and then you start being proactive and make relationships with agents in those areas. And you can do that in Command, where you can search a referral network. You can find an agent anywhere. So an example that I give is that I have a lot of friends and family that live in Noblesville, Indiana. Once I'm licensed, I will have 2 or 3 business partners in that area to help my friends and family that live there. And I'm going to communicate to my database in Noblesville, Indiana, that I have a real estate professional partner that if they're looking to buy or sell, they could help them with their needs. And I can set that up on a smart plan so that I'm, even though I'm in Cincinnati and not even licensed in Indiana, I will be top of mind for that realtor. They will know to call me for my clients, and I will connect them with somebody that would be able to service them. And then I don't even have to transact, and I'll just take a 25%. Thank you very much. So yes, do not limit yourself. When you're looking at your database, do not delete anyone unless it's absolutely necessary. Tag them as out of state. That's a good point. Your job is to build a community and to serve the community. A database is not only a container of information, it's your business. Gary Keller thinks of it this way. My job is to connect with you, put you in my database, and be your realtor of life. He thinks of his database as a community that he serves, and he adds, the size of your community is determined by you. It's a great reminder that real estate is a relationship business. Servicing your leads is a big part of building your community. All right, so we want to make sure we're on service all leads page in the participation guide. Why do you think it is important to provide service to all leads? A lead not followed up on becomes someone else's lead, Mary's lead, and a source of business and income. Provide value in general and through your real estate knowledge by volunteering information and following through on what you say you'll do. It is important to service all leads so that you can know the source. Knowing how the lead was generated will be important for calculating your return on investment for your prospecting and marketing methods. Track the relationship. You will use your database to track conversations, interactions, etc., related to the transaction and relationship that helps to ensure your customers are serviced and converted into clients. And then reward your referrals. You will follow up with the reward. You will follow up with and reward the client who referred the new lead. Remember to reward the act of giving you the lead. Don't wait for closing. The reward will help encourage the behavior and allowing your database to feed itself. So you can encourage the behavior, can't incentivize the behavior. Make sense? So what, huh?
What would be the difference? Would encouragement be like, oh, you keep doing me and you solid.
Right. You encourage the behavior by, after they've already given you the lead, rewarding them. Instead of, if you give me a lead, I will pay you.
Okay.
So that's incentivized versus encouragement. It's the timeline. You don't start with the money, then get the lead. You get the lead and then you reward them. And then they will know subconsciously, I was rewarded for this. It's great. I'm going to be forthcoming and give you another lead. incentivize. Even though it's going to a nonprofit that way. Now, you could frame it differently. You could say, you know, my goal this year is to donate X amount of dollars to this charity. Okay. How can you help me in doing that through my business? So through my business, my goal this year is to donate $10,000 to, you know, the local YMCA. How can you help me in doing that? The way best way to help me is that I need to sell homes. Okay. So you're not saying like, you see how that's a little bit different verbiage? You're explaining the goal and you're allowing everyone to participate in helping you with that goal. It's not, I will only donate $10,000 if you give me leads. See how there's different with the verbiage? My goal this year is to donate $10,000 to YMCA. How, the best way that you can help me in donating this money is by supporting me in my real estate business so I can make that donation. It's how you frame it, right? Because it's not saying I'm not going to donate unless you give me the leads. Okay, so Command makes it easy to service all the people in your database with whatever you need. You may follow up by adding more to the contact record, update your tasks, launch additional smart plans, manage your referrals, and design all sorts of marketing materials for your website. And then obviously, you guys know how to get to KW Connect in Command. So in Command, at the top left, it says Command, and then there's Connect. Connect is a resource for all of trainings, KWRI. So if you're stuck on something or you're wanting ideas on how to captivate more leads, drop your questions in there. There's also KW Quick, KWIQ. It's a little icon in the top right-hand corner. Click on that. It's going to connect you with resources as well. There's a ton of resources in Connect. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to review KW Cares. These have been added. All right, so we're just going to do a quick review. 4 laws of database. We're going to build the database. We're going to feed it every day by generating leads. Generate leads, and we're going to feed our database every single day. Then we're going to communicate systematically with our leads and our contacts. And we're going to service all the leads. And eventually it'll spit out. So we've got the funnel, right? So we're doing our lead generation. We're constantly feeding our funnel with leads. In that funnel of communication, how many to connect? For the leads, 19. How many to convert contacts into business? 36. Okay. How many it's one connection to cement from a lead to a contact. And that's when we start to be able to have that two-way conversation once they're contact. So you have the tools and systems to create your database. You understand the value of your database and commit to maximizing how to use it. And you can continue to build and feed your database and begin to communicate with and service the people in your database. An important step to take now that you have the understanding and tools, if you haven't already, is to build and feed your database. Take action today. All right. Trust your database. Don't quit too soon. It takes time. Okay. Don't quit too soon. Sometimes it can take 2 to 3 years to see a significant return. Eventually your database will start to reward you. It can take over a year of contacting people with a 36 touch campaign to see consistent results. It's not immediate. Think in a mindset of long term. National Association of Realtors tells us that currently people are moving every 7 to 10 years. I think it's actually like 8 to 11. I think it's 8 to 11. But still, I mean, the thing is, I've seen just in our office, I've seen an agent sell the same property 3 times in the last 3 years. So The thing is that there's a national average, but you're gonna have people that sell their home after 2 years or 3 years. And then you're gonna have people that don't sell their home until 20 years. So you can look at the national average, but the reality is you just have to still be in connection with your database so that you know when they're ready to buy or sell. Life happens unexpectedly. Like you never know. There's unpredictable things happen. Life happens. You might, have someone that buys a 2-story home and they get in a car accident and need to find a ranch. But you would not know that unless you're communicating with your database. I know it's a horrible example. But I'm just saying, like, you'll never know if you're not communicating with your database. You get into the pain points with people in your database and understand if their home is a current pain point, what is happening? Maybe they have, unexpectedly they're having another kid and now they need to buy a bigger home. That happened to my little brother. So my little brother moved into a house, bought a house in Deer Park. He was engaged, bought a house in Deer Park, and within 36 hours of living in that home, got a call that his wife's sister had a baby, and the baby was being taken away by the state. So all of a sudden, they went from being engaged and buying a home to now having a child. They got married a couple months later, and she got pregnant. So now they have 2 kids in a year and a half in a house that they sold their house after only living there for 3 years because they grew out of it, and now they have another kid, and now they're in a home that they're probably going to stay in. But this is all life that they did not know was coming. Great. Yeah. So again, these are life moments that you don't know are happening. So you can't wait, So if you sell somebody a home, you have to continue to communicate with them after you've sold them their home because you have no idea what could happen in their life that could force them to have to move. Okay. And it could be good things, it could be bad things. We don't know. So as we wrap up our learning session and transition to our success system, so we're gonna make some phone calls. I want to capture a couple of ahas. Okay. Let's think, so just thinking about the entire course today in our database, what are some big ahas for you? Without going into song. Huh? Yeah. Google yourself, all right? Not only Google yourself, but have your friends and family Google you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And in addition to that, Google reviews. I bet an aha for you is getting Google reviews, even though you haven't sold a house yet. Yeah. What else?
Having a vendor list. I like the DT2 or 2.
I use the same thing. That's what gets stuck in my head. Is
I think that's how I've been trying to attack my database. At least just in my first search, I was trying to go through A.
Yeah, I think consistency also is huge when dealing with your database. So consistency and also follow up. So when you're when you're communicating to your database, you're having those conversations and you tell them that you're going to do something, what is your system in place to make sure you're following up and doing it? Right? So what is that system for you guys? Is that creating a task in command so that it reminds you? Because you may call them and they're on the beach. Hey, when I get back, I do want to talk to you because I need to connect to the lender. How are you going to remember to do that in a timely manner and not forget? So you got to create tasks for yourself in command. Build your database. What were we going to say?
I was getting ready to say. So we started last week. I think William was in on it doing the RDA book club.
Oh, great. Yeah.
One of the things that they talked about in our section that we had was that you have two jobs. One is being a realtor, two is lead generation. So thinking of it as like another job, and then I think on top of that too, for me, I brought up the whole idea that I keep running into questioning myself if my activity is leading to productivity. Because I'll feel active during the day, but then at the end of the day, it's like I've been here 2 weeks and I'm not saving money on. Maybe Wednesday I have the chance of seeing money in a month or two. But I think part of me, I'll think, okay, all these people that are reaching out to, is this going to be good? Hearing that, reaching out to your database will bring in referrals after like 3 years makes me feel like what I've been doing is actually productive.
Yeah. Well, it's a marathon. This is not a short game at all. And so right now you're working on building a foundation for your business and creating systems that you communicate systematically to your database over time that is going to create a long-term business plan. I think a lot of agents are very short-sighted when they first get in because, well, especially during COVID, a lot of people who are failing out of the business right now are people who got licensed during COVID. Because what happened during COVID is you got your license and somebody was going to buy or sell with you within the first 30 days of getting your license. And so now, where it's a skill-based market, that's not happening. Okay. And those people that had success during COVID, that's all fake success. That wasn't because they were a skilled real estate agent. It's just, it was during a really crazy time. So now we're looking at people who are getting the business right now in a market that's somewhat shifting from a seller's market to a buyer's market, somewhat normalizing in a balanced market, which I can tell you is right now, by the time we realize it's balanced, it will not be balanced anymore. We got to focus on those skills and communicating to our database consistently, and we've got to deliver value every single time. And it's going to long-term give you those benefits. But right now, if it's not yielding you the results that you want, you've got to stick to it. And maybe you have to increase your lead generation, set a goal of how many appointments that you want to make a week, and you got to stick to those goals. And you come into the office and you have accountability. You get on those Friday calls with Kristen. You do the daily Monday calls or morning calls. It's every morning, 8 a.m. That's your level of accountability. But you can't quit too soon, and you can't. I mean, 2 to 3 years to really see some significant turnaround. That's not saying you're not going to sell a house here in the next month or so. Well, it's funny. I was talking to Bo and Tara. So we have Bold coming up in the end of September. And so with Bold, if you haven't attended Bold before, your goal is to call 100 people a week. So it's 20 people a day. And so there's a huge accountability with that. I mean, you have to report your numbers to your team. You have to report every single appointment that you've set, held. Your team's scored based on this. And when you don't have someone on your team doing the activities, the whole team feels it. And so the idea is when you're doing Bold and you're at this high level accountability and you're making those $20 a day or more than $20 a day, and you start seeing that success when Bold's over, that level of accountability kind of goes away. So then only calling 10 people a day is easy. From going to calling 20. And maybe you stick to 10 people a day. But the reality is you're doing the activities. Okay. And if you guys haven't, I know that William, you just took Bold in the spring, right? Give us some thoughts on that. How did that go for you?
Well, good feedback.
Well, and if you, in those conversations, focus on Ford, right? Talk about family, occupation, relationships, dreams, or real estate, relationship or real estate, whatever you want to use for R. But that's just one phone call. 36 touches in your contacts. 36 touches, okay? And there's a lot of little systems in command. The 36 touch, there's a smart plan for it that helps you stay on top of everybody. That's in command. There's Marty Miller. If you guys ever see anything that Marty Miller does, he is fantastic. Google him. There's YouTube videos. He does the D2T, whatever. I can't ever do it. The R2D2. He also does the 36 touch smart plan. So definitely check those out. All right. So are we all okay? So tomorrow we don't do Ignite tomorrow or Wednesday. We're going to restart up on Thursday. But tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in here, we have the Mega Camp live stream for the market update. You want to be here for that. That is going to be Gary Keller. He's going to have an economist. You're going to have Jason Abrams. You'll probably have Jay Papazon. This is live stream from Mega Camp, and they are going to go through slide after slide after slide of what is going on right now in our market, how it's shifting. They'll go through, the average, how many homes have sold so far this year. They'll go over historical value. This is like, you have to be here tomorrow to watch this. We'll showcase it in here. If you can't be here, Jenna's going to send out links so you can watch it remotely. And then when Tara, Kristen, Kelly, everyone comes back from Mega Camp, next week's team meeting, we'll go through all those slides and you'll have access to these, because part of your value proposition as a real estate agent is understanding what's going on nationally with real estate. So make sure that you're here tomorrow. That's going to be huge.
What time does that start?
9 a.m. Yep. I'll probably go and pick up some like bagels or do some kind of snacks and things like that to have in here. But you definitely want to make sure you're here tomorrow.
How long is it?
It's a solid hour and a half, 2 hours. Yeah. And this is like, they do this at family reunion and they do it at Mega Camp every single year. And so as soon as family reunion's over, they are researching the data and following up with it. And then it is good stuff. And if you haven't heard Gary call or talk, he's amazing. All right. You guys good? Database is fun.
So fun. One question